this regular July the 6th, 2017 meeting to order. If you will, bow your head for a short word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we do thank Thee and come to Thee with humble and thankful hearts, Lord, that You let us celebrate another birthday of our country, Lord. We thank You that You let us be born in the greatest country on your earth, Lord. We know there's a lot wrong with it, and we pray that You bless America and make us strong again, and help us to do or say something to bring honor and glory to Your holy name. Lord, we ask Thee to be with all of those that are sick, Lord. There's so many of us. We go to doctor's offices, we see so many people, Lord, that need Thy healing hand. Reach down and touch their bodies and comfort them, give them a good day, and heal them if it be Thy will. Ask Thee to forgive us of all of our many sins. And God, bless America. In Jesus' name we pray.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, need a motion to approve the agenda as it is presented here.
I make that motion.
Got a motion, Mr. Brackman, your second? Second, Mr. Wallace. Any discussion?
That's a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Correction number 6, right here on our desk. That's fully corrected.
Number 6 is highlighted.
Number 6, it's highlighted. I left off Ms. Ransom's name. It just says council member.
Okay.
So I added Ransom.
Any more questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved, disapproved, that carries. Public comment, do we have any public comment? Okay, approval of the minutes for July the 5th regular meeting. Yes, sir. Got public comment?
Yes, sir.
Come forward and state your name, where you live, sir.
My name is Matthew Spates. I live at 77 Mildred Street in Temple. The comment I wanted to make was last night, my girlfriend's daughter was involved in a wreck on Mildred Street. And as everybody knows, it's a one-way road. We have a constant problem with people coming up the road the wrong way at high rates of speed. It caused her to run off the road and hit the big oak tree in front of our yard. And I just feel like something needs to be done to prevent people from coming up that way of some sort. I don't know what needs to be done. I mean, we've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, but now it's got to the point where people are getting hurt.
Okay, we will take your comment, and Mr. Osborne, you heard that, and get with the chief and see what's the best way to handle this, and then report back to the council and just do it. Thank you, sir. Any more public comment? Okay, now the approval of the minutes of June the 6th. June 5th. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve the corrected.
Got a motion by Mr. Bracknell to approve the corrected. For a second? Second, Mr. Wallace. Any discussion? Favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And that's carried. Appoint a non-voting member to the Carroll County Water Authority Board from the city of Temple. It was tabled from last month's meeting. Do I hear
I make a motion that we appoint Howard Walden to that position.
I got a motion to appoint Mr. Walden. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Got a second, Mr. Wallace. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, authorize the mayor signing a new intergovernmental agreement between Carroll County government for the sheriff's office to provide inmate cruise service after the current agreement expires on July the 30th. Mr. Osborne.
I didn't hear Howard.
I abstain.
You did, okay.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. the minutes reflect Mr. Rockwell's thing. Okay, number 2 here, the intergovernmental agreement, Mr. Austin.
Yes, if we have still not received from the sheriff's department the new agreement. However, they've indicated to us in the past that they would be continuing to provide services. Made several contacts, we'll do so again. This being now we're the first week of July. They have been here working this week, including the road crews. What I would suggest that you consider tonight, so we can get the agreement coming in at any time. If you want us to come back, table it again, and come back. Otherwise, after you take it off the table tonight, if you wanted to vote to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement when we get it, as long as it provides essentially the same scope of work and cost that we've had this past year, whatever your pleasure is.
Can we can legally do that. So if it comes in, no changes, the mayor go ahead and sign, so it's a continuation of service.
That's right, and you would need to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement, provided it's the same. As an example, if there's a water agreement on the agenda, same agreement that you had before. As long as there's no changes to previously approved, you would continue, you're exactly right. The minutes would just need to reflect that.
That's my motion.
Okay, that's Mr. Brackman's motion. Do I hear a second?
This first one we take off the table.
No, we're leaving it on the
He's
table.
leaving it on.
If it comes in like this,
If
then
it comes in
sign.
with no change, this is what the motion is, if it comes in with no change,
No change.
other than the dates.
Okay, that makes sense. Then you don't have to bring it back. If there's any changes in here, the cost or any of that, then we want to drop out. That makes sense.
That's fine, I'm just not sure that if you table something, you first have to take it off the table.
We're not tabling.
It was already tabled. You have to bring it off the table before you can consider it.
Because we tabled it the last time.
Yes, sir.
Did we table it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Then,
Table from June.
then, because it was tabled, it's now back on the agenda. Technically, under Robert's Rules of Order, being technical, the administrator is correct. It's on the agenda, we're all here to vote on, but I think you would probably need to have a motion and second to take it off the table and bring it on up. Second.
And I'll apologize.
No, that's
on
okay.
the first one, because we really didn't do the first one also.
Okay, I make a motion that we take it off the table and put it back on.
Here's a second.
Do I need to do that for both of those?
Yes, sir.
I'm-
Let me stop you before you make your motions. Is there anything else that was,
That needs to be taken off
That's
the
right.
table? Okay, that's those two. So we need to, so I make a motion that we take the two off the table and put them on the agenda. You see, what I thought when we approved the agenda, we were approving those being taken off.
I think you basically are, but since you brought up the issue of the table, and since it's now in the minutes, let's go ahead.
All right, so I make a motion that item 1 and item 2 be taken off the table and put back on the agenda.
Here's a second. Mr. Tom, you second it, okay? Tom did, okay. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. And Mr. Brackman.
Do we need to re-vote on item number 1?
Please.
I make a motion that Howard Walden be appointed to the Carroll County Water Authority.
Okay, got a motion, Mr. Brackman.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Mr. Rockwell, you abstain. Okay.
All right.
That's carried.
Then the second one is, I make a motion that we leave that agreement as is and it be executed unless there are changes. If there are changes, bring it back for those changes to be approved.
Got you, sir. Your second. Thank you, Mr. Walden. Any discussion? Favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That's carried. Item number 3, authorize the mayor to sign an intergovernmental agreement with Carroll County Board of Commissioners excise tax in incorporated county and municipalities in the county who desire to be part of said agreement. Mr. Osborne.
I'm giving you a memo, the mayor and I did go to the meeting of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners on June the 6th. It was approved by the Board of Commissioners to initiate this energy excise tax. And this, of course, would be the tax collected by the county from companies that sell energy, electricity, gas, oil, or types of fuel to manufacturers in the county. The county would retain a 1% administrative fee and then divide the funds proportionally. Our share is 3.82%, and it's been estimated by the county finance director that this would bring in $13,000 a year in terms of this revenue for the city of Temple. We hope that you would see fit to authorize the mayor to sign this agreement.
Y'all's wishes.
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second it.
Mr. Walden, make a motion. Mr. Bratton, second. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Question for the attorney. You familiar with this?
Yes, sir.
When it started in 2013, different cities started enacting this, and the county first opted out. Is that correct? You know?
That's my understanding of what happened. Yes.
But Carrollton accepted it, they adopted it, and the county decided not to adopt it. Now, I've done a little bit of research on this, and at first I was thinking it was the manufacturers and agriculture that were not going to pay the taxes anymore, and it was being shifted to individuals. Is that just entirely wrong? It's all for manufacturing?
It's an excise tax, it's not an individual tax.
Well, I mean, excise to manufacturers only.
Yes.
So I'm not going to get a new excise tax on my gas for the people that,
No.
that answered my question. I was confused, but I did some research and read on it, and I thought they were shifting it away from the manufacturers like they originally paid it.
Okay. Any more questions? More discussion? All in favor of Mr. Warren and Mr. Bratton's motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, new business. Adopt a new agreement with Carroll County Water Authority for the purchase of water to be effective on January 1st, 2018. Met with Carroll County, and they are going up on our water, and Mr. Osborne, you want to explain that?
Yes, sir. In accordance with your action, about 3 months ago, the mayor, Wayne Hart and I met, as the mayor said, with Carroll County Water Authority, and you have a copy of the new agreement. They are going up on our water. If right now the letter, first page of this letter, prefacing the agreement is that our current municipal water rate is like $1.62 per 100 cubic feet. And that would go up to somewhere between $1.92 to $2 the first of the year. Or if you were looking at it as it shows that in terms of 1,000 gallons, we go up from $2.16 a 1,000 gallons to somewhere between $2.57 and $2.67 a 1,000 gallons. So fairly significant increase that will kick in the first of the year. It's not going to change if we wait till later in the year to adopt it. Probably just go ahead and adopt it, get that out of the way. So as we work on the new water rate schedule to present to you later in the year, we already have done this part, which we got to do at some point.
What is your wishes?
Agreement, we have a choice.
Yes, sir.
Is that a motion? Motion by Mr. Walton,
Second it.
second by Mr. Bratton. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Number 2, appoint a new member to the Temple Planning Commission to fill the vacancy which occurred when former member, Councilman Wallace was sworn in as a member of Temple City Council. Mr. Wallace.
Yes, I'd like to, I assume I need to make a motion.
Yes, sir. We waiting on your appointment, sir.
I'd like to appoint Mr. Jeff Shackelford.
Jeff,
Shackelford.
okay, Jeff Shackelford.
That's a motion, I will second it.
Got a motion second by Mr. Walden. Walden, second. Okay, any discussion? Yes, sir.
Who's Jeff Shepherd?
Regular.
Hey, Jeff.
He does.
All right. I bet you last time.
Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Swear you in, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
If, just put on your calendar, meeting with the planning commission on the 18th.
Okay.
Put it over.
Be here to swear you in, sir.
On the 18th?
Thank you for helping out the city of Temple, sir.
You're welcome.
What time?
5:30.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Select a company to provide ground maintenance for landscaping service for City Hall, Police Department, Temple Library, Senior Building, and Welcome Signs. Order 113. Authorize the mayor to sign the necessary agreement with the selected company, Mr. Osborne.
Previously, in your workbooks, we had given you information on the 5 companies that had responded to our advertising for proposals. And then I had said in that memo that as I looked at, we had a couple of one bidder that did not meet our specifications, so we could not consider them. We had another one who met all the specifications, but their bid was much higher than anybody else's, and we did have qualified bidders that were significantly lower than that. I looked at the 3 lowest bidders and did background checks on the 2 of them. One of those being Chip Lawn Care that provided this service 2 years ago, and was a finalist for the last year. Their references checked out very good. Also, the other bid was from Shades Outdoor Services. Their bid was lower. They did not have the experience that Chip's Lawn Care. Most of Shades Outdoor Services work has been, it appeared from their references and talking with them to be pretty much that they focused on the residential work and not anything as large as what we have. And as I explained in my memo, I did have a number of questions concerning Shades bid, that they did not break it out to show that they had a good understanding of what we were asking for in quotes. My recommendation to you is that you look at going to Chip's Lawn Care, but of any of the proposals that was submitted to you, other than the one from Connors Lawn Care and Pressure Washing, did meet your qualifications. With whomever you select, you will need to specify whether or not the ground cover would be pine straw or mulch. The pine straw would, under the bid from Chip's Lawn Service, and all the others other than Shades would be significantly less expensive than the mulch. The question that we had to try to respond.
I just have a question. We have, the last time the Chips did a quote on it was less than this one, several thousand less. Have we had, we get more bid?
We added some more, both at the senior center. That was one of the things that we added to the senior center. Yes, sir.
So, thanks for pointing that out, sir. I make a motion that we accept Chip's loan bid.
Got a motion, Mr. Brackman, to go with, Mr. Osborne's recommendation of Chip's Lawn Care. Do I hear a second? Second by Mr. Rockwell. Any discussion? Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Gray, I can send you on this one, this contract.
I looked over every contract, and I don't know if you've seen me this one.
No, basically, we got is a request for proposal, if you've seen, but we did not. You'll see the information put together at the time.
And let me kind of, I guess, for minutes too, especially since the mayor's going to be signing it. I had provided them with a template of the general contract forms that we could use rather than me having, spending money with me having to do it every time. So Kristen's become kind of good at that. So let's use my form, third-party service contract.
In my motion, I left off the fact that we need to decide whether it be pine straw or mulch. My motion is pine straw.
Okay, got a motion, Mr. Brackman,
Pine
pine straw.
straw.
Second by Mr. Rockwell, any discussion? Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that is carried, there.
Before we leave that item, let's let the minutes reflect that we will use the contract I provided to the city of Tampa.
Got it, sir.
Thank you.
Number 4, staff report on the termination of a 3-year intergovernmental agreement between the city of Temple and the city of Villa Rica for fiscal services and for financial services and
You will go back to the memo, I'm just going to go through this pretty quickly, not asking you to take any action tonight. There are a few things that we need to be thinking about, so we can come back to, as you know from the meeting recently, that we were notified that the city of Villa Rica, or we sent you notice that the city of Villa Rica had voted to terminate the agreement, give us a 60-day notice. I have provided you a little bit of background information in this, and from a timing standpoint, while nothing ever is usually at a real good time, this is a better time for us than if they had terminated this agreement, say, 3 or 4 months ago. We have now essentially through converting from Harris DBS to Casell. Still have some bugs to work out, but we're far better off now than we were back 3 months ago. We will need to be gearing up, be ready to roll, rock and roll by the 1st of September with whatever we have, which will be in time for us to get ready to start working on next year's budget. One of the things we'll have to look at on staffing, in addition to finance services and code enforcement, as the mayor and I were talking earlier today, the priority, of course, is looking at the finance situation. That's more complicated. One of the services, obviously. That what I would suggest to you is that we will have a special call meeting on July the 25th. That's a meeting that the mayor has called with a couple of items of business. We mentioned the planning commission meeting coming up on the 18th. We will be receiving a recommendation from them and looking at the first reading of the ordinance on the 2 different items coming from the planning commission and having a public hearing. So if you wanted to try to look at being ready maybe to make a decision by the 25th on what we do, the mayor and I, when we talked today, and I think it's a good idea, we'll proceed with this at this time, if it makes sense to you, is that we would, over the next 3 weeks, would be working as if we were going to be establishing our own finance department with whatever personnel we would need to do that. But at the same time, we would also be identifying for your consideration, 2 or more companies that provide those type of services so that we can contract. It might be for doing a billing. It could be from some other aspects of our fiscal operation. We would be working on those dual tracks so that you would, and by the 25th, be able to provide you information, give you a report on where we are with each of those, and get some further direction from you as we then move for the final 6 weeks before this contract would terminate. What we have given you, just for your information, is a copy of that intergovernmental agreement that we have with Bill Ricker at this point. You also have a copy of the letter that we received from Mayor Reese notifying us of the termination. If there are questions, be glad to try to respond.
Any questions, Mr. Dawes?
Comment. You said a couple of firms, wouldn't it be wise to, and I just want to talk about it in the meeting, to go with maybe an independent CPA firm rather than hiring our own financial this year?
And that's
Somebody that's, experienced.
And exactly, we need to be sure that we get somebody that's experienced, and whether or not it's a CPA firm to do everything. There are firms out there, of course, that handle billing and keep books for places and so forth. I'm not prepared to say tonight what we would do, but certainly looking at different possibilities, and we welcome the input from all of you.
Well, I realize they have every right to, according to the contract, every right to void the contract, but I don't want to see things sugarcoated. I know, we all know the reason why Bill Ricker canceled the contract, and it was because of a poor working relationship with one of our council members. So just so that everybody knows that, I know everybody's aware of it, but I can't see us hiring somebody in-house with, having the same problem that is already exists. That's all I have to say.
When Mayor Reed called me, he didn't refer to any council member, sir. He just said that they felt like it would be in their best interest because it was taking up a lot of their time over there, that they terminated and they did not want any hard feelings.
I understand that. They were listening to their employee and looking out for their employee's best interest.
That's what the mayor said on his phone call to me.
I think most of us have talked to Bill Ricker.
Like I said, I talked to the mayor, and he didn't indicate any of that. He said it was a word move, and it was more than they anticipated it to be for, sir.
All right, sir. I talked to him too.
Okay,
Let's move on.
let's move on. Okay, we've got that. So item number 6, staff report on filing of the city's 2016 audit.
Back up one.
Okay, number 5. Okay, yes, I had to check, but we didn't discuss that. Mr. Everhart, update on the report of the Bill Russell lift station.
No, we'll go over this as you kind of, I had done a memo and Mr. Everhart and I talked, and he's going to go through a few things for you that Ms. Ransom had asked if we put this on the agenda to talk about the discussion of the sewer spill, possible causes and resolutions, and that tied in very nicely to what Mr. Everhart and I would rate our city engineer. If you haven't read my memo, if you would do so, I'm going to turn it over to Wayne to just kind of take you through what we're looking at in terms of just reminding y'all what the problems are, and then look at what we think for immediate and then intermediate solutions.
Yes, Mayor and Council, just need to update. The Bill station is up and running. Repair 2 60 horsepower large pumps, jet valve, and we did a socket shoulder. All as a result of the damage that we got by lightning storm. So again, that pump, that Now, we do know that that station is problematic based on history, and what we want to do is, hopefully here in the upcoming future, is to upgrade that station. I think there's some numbers in there that refers to the cost of that, but the volume of the sewer that goes to that particular station, it definitely needs to be upgraded. We have 13 lift stations, 12 of them actually pump to the Villa Rosa lift station, and therefore then it goes to the sewer plant. But the volume of sewer that actually goes to that station, that station needs to be upgraded. And again, we'll have some definite figures for you. Me and Howard have been talking about this, and again, he's aware of the problem. I think he's addressed mayor and council of this in the past. So this is something that we'll be presenting to you for budget purposes in the future. Also, one thing that we have discussed is getting a bypass pump for the city. That would actually be beneficial as well, because when you have problems like this that arise, sometimes the company that we actually get the bypass pump from, they don't have a pump that's available. So it may be a 2-day waiting period, and if we were to have one on site, then that would definitely help us, because if you have both pumps go down like we had last time, you cannot avoid a speed. It's inevitable, and it's going to happen. So if we had a bypass pump for ourselves, then we would actually be able to, just take that bypass pump there versus waiting a day for 2 or 3 hours for this particular company to locate one. Vern has been working on getting some prices for that. He can come up and give you some prices for that. A bypass pump would benefit Vern as well in terms of some of the things that he does at the station as well. So, again, he has some prices for that as well.
And this is what we're talking about. Can you see it?
Okay, it's portable. So.
It's a portable pump, right? We can move it at a minute's notice. Today I called, I know you can't afford brand new pump, so I called United Rentals, which is where we rent this one from. The prices range from $7,000 to $15,000 on used pump. That's from 2011 to 2015. Okay? That's a model. So the prices, we can look at the pumps and decide how much you want to pay. But it would cost between $7,000 and $15,000 for a good used pump that we would have available to do what we need. And in actuality, since I've been here, I've only been here 2 years, we've already paid for the pump, we just don't have it. But I've rented it twice. Each time we're talking about $4,000 or $5,000 or $7,000. I think I paid about $5,000. I think you pay more. Rent.
Just to rent, right?
And when you rent it, you got to keep it for a month so your equipment comes back online.
Situation when that happens, when both of them go out, you don't have the luxury of going to Walmart or shopping around. You have to fix the situation. Right.
Yes. Do we have any budget to do this?
We could look at one of two things. We do have money we've used. A good part of that is there's more than 12,000 still left. Wayne's going to look at me hard when I say this, but we'd have to come back later in the year probably and amend his budget. We did have money in there for maintenance and repairs on the lift stations. That would be one thing we could look at. The other is that while we have tried not to go to the 2015 splosh, that would be another possibility that we could go to. We can certainly find sufficient funds to do this. And in fact, if y'all are ready to act, you do it tonight, you go ahead and get that done so that we have a breakdown next week. We have one.
Right. See, that was my thought too, is that this is something that we desperately need and something we've done. Right?
Yes, sir.
And if we need it, we need it. We got the money for it, we need to get it. But while we're on this, I got a question about the other stations. Now, all of it's my understanding that if we have a lightning storm and power goes out, all of these immediately convert over to generators, right? Now, do we have generators for all of our lift stations? All of them are working?
Not all of them. There's some new technology out there. The guys that we're working with, DWI, they're going to come give me our communication. And there's some new technology out there that will actually help absorb some of that in terms of when there's a lightning strike where another pump could come on. There's some ways around it basically, but he's going to come do a presentation. So we'll have that, hopefully we'll have that luxury in the future as well.
But we don't have a pumping station anywhere in the city that needs a generator that isn't working.
We have 13 of them. The only one that comes to my mind is maybe one or two that we'll definitely have to check in terms of the generator.
So we might possibly have generators, right? That are not, that is something, in my opinion, that needs to be a priority. I mean, if it's not pumping, my idea, if it's not pumping, it's going to be going somewhere.
Generators now.
Yeah, but I know, but I'm only asking about where we have the critical pumping station, right? If all of the generators on the critical pumping station are working.
It's only one that comes to mind that's not working. We've been trying to get that one working, but we haven't thought about something like that.
So that seems to me like it should be a priority. I mean, we got a lot of rain that's spilling everything out, flooding, now lightning storm, knocks out half the power in town. Several hours. Please check that. I don't want you to come back. I don't want you to come back and say, I knew this generator wasn't working, and we got a spill because I knew this generator wasn't working. I'd rather you tell me all of them are working.
Right. A lot of the problems that we had since I've been here are not generator related. It's pump related. Pumps are
Do we have spare parts and do we have spare parts to take care of that? So that means that we have to get this machine out there.
right. And this is, and there's only 2 stations set up here in the city of Temple that will take a bypass pump. That's still free. And the other ones, they are the higher quality stations.
So what happens with the others?
The others, you just have to go out and assess the problem. And since I've been here, it's been motors.
So, but do we have motors? Do we have spare motors?
I have spare motors.
Why not? That's because you're, as a department head, you need to be, dang, we don't want spills. Spilling is not a good thing. And if we could have a pump there so that we could get the repair started fast, would be really nice. If we give you this to pump it around, we have a spare pump, and you don't have to.
On those motors, but those motors are, when I want to talk about, those motors are 20,000 a piece.
Okay, so the deal is you gotta, if it goes down now, it would be, what, Monday before you could get it from?
Well,
This is Thursday.
right now, it's getting someone here to assess the problem. And then we go from there. That's basically how we go. Assess.
Is that the best plan?
I mean, if it was up to me, we should have at least, the city of Temple should have at least 3 spare parts. It's stop.
All right. That bothers me that we don't have spare parts. It bothers me that there may or may not be a generator that's working. And, this problem down here was a problem that could have been really worse than it was, right? We were really lucky with that, right?
I mean,
And I want to know what is our preventative plan to keep that going. That's all I want to know.
preventative plan is what we're talking about now.
So this is coming fast,
All
right?
right, that's, well, again, that's gonna be up to what we find in terms of the cost. I think Howard's come to you guys and gave you some kind of.
Yeah, I realize it's really, really expensive, but so is paying fines for spilling poop in the creek.
Right,
There's a creek there.
Right. Totally understand. But yeah, the solution is upgrade that station. But again, the volume of environment, the volume that comes to that station is tremendous. And that, it's too small. It's too small. I mean, the Deer Creek lift station is the appropriate size that needs to be a lift station. Everybody that has come in here since I've been here has said the same thing. The station is too small for the volume that comes through it. And again, that's the main source before it goes to volume.
So, but you're telling us you're developing a plan
Well,
to share with us so
Right.
we can fix it.
Right.
We can't fix anything if we aren't being given the
but
information.
again, based on, since I've been here, Howard has came to me and said, am I correct, Mr. Gonzalez, that he has addressed the land council?
Yeah, that's what, $500,000, yeah. But we got to get a plan in place to get that $500,000.
Right.
Many times that Villa Wilson is too small, and it needs to be upgraded, and we do need to address that, but I'm hoping in another situation that I can't talk about tonight can take the pressure off of Villa Wilson in a later date. But you know what? We need to address the situation now.
Right. You know, things that come up in the future, I wish I had agreed to that. It would probably help me make my decision, but right now, you know, I was down there looking at poop going everywhere, and I was going, oh crap, poop going everywhere. And there's a creek there. That's the one. But I do want to know about that. I do want to know back soon if the generators are not working.
The generators need to
Work.
I got about three things. I got a comment. I think that pump station is the oldest one that the city has. Villa Rosa was the first subdivision that was put in on city sewer. And it was probably just a bare minimum lift station. I'm sure the development put it in Villa Rosa, bare minimum. The figures that you quoted, there's a big gap between 7,000 and 15,000. If we approve something, can we get a closer figure? Can we put a cap on it? Do would 10,000 do? Would 12,000 do? Or is it just
I said 10 to 12 in my memo simply as a range, and I think we yield to what Vernon has found out. I'm sure that if you were to give us, say, a maximum of 12, that if you look at the different used pumps, then we could find one that would not exceed 12.
But he's saying 15 is max.
Well,
The range is the new one.
That would be a good.
That's the new one.
I was going to ask too, do we have motors laying around that can be rebuilt? You was talking about the cost of motors.
Not since I've been here, honestly.
The equipment setting at the Villa Rosa lift station now, is that a generator or a pump?
That's the point.
That's the pump you had when we had the spill, right? Same one? Okay, so we're paying rent on it.
Well, our county, we terminated the contract, well, it wasn't a contract. I terminated the services last week once we got it.
Okay, so we were paying monthly rent on it.
When we got it, the latter part of May until last week. That's when we got everything up and like the most of the month. Didn't want to get rid of it, you know.
Are we, for sure?
Well, I make a motion that we authorize up to $12,000 to purchase this pump.
Okay, got a motion, Mr. Franklin, purchase this pump, not to exceed 12,000, here's a second. Mr. Martin, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, item number 6 now.
Yes,
sir.
And we will come back, you know, with some reports on what you talk. The only thing I can say in closing is that when we talk about this fall with Villa Rosa, is the rebuilding of that pump station is about $500,000, which would take care of us, we think, for about the next decade there. But in addition, you know, from the discussion, we've got a lot of other stuff that's got to be dealt with out there also. So what we're talking about tonight is just a tiny piece of what we're looking at in terms of the pump station.
Any more comments? Staff report on filing with the city of Temple's 2016 audit with the state or the state?
Just a memo to let you know, this following up from last Thursday's meeting is that we have been working with our auditors. The audit, 2016 audit has now been filed with the State Department of Audits and Accounts. We should get final copies of the audit in the next few days, and we'll make sure to let you know when they come in. And we'll put one in your boxes, but that audit has now been filed with the state.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Number 7, report from the city attorney concerning water and sewer bond payment authorized by the city council last year. Mr. Correll.
As you know, and as the memo indicated to you from the meeting with the auditor, for whatever reason, the money that was supposed to be transferred to the water sewer fund did not get transferred. If you have any legal opinion that you can do that. Because the action has already been approved and the money's there, it's just not accounted for in the right fund, I think you're going to need a motion and second to authorize the transfer of those monies into the water and sewer. And again, it was an accounting error that occurred after you voted to do it last year, so you've got to correct that issue now. And if you notice in my opinion, there's 2 amounts that will be shown in the correction. 622,550, which came from SPLOST, and 130,000, which came from the generals. So to answer questions that you may have, whether we need a motion or a second to accomplish an audit transfer, so it's in the right account. The money's there, nothing, some issue about something happened with the money, doesn't happen with the money, it just never got over and it was credited where it should have been with the water and sewer.
Your motion that these funds be transferred back into the appropriate account.
Okay, so you need a motion to put both amounts back into the water fund?
That's correct.
Where are they now?
The
General fund? Okay, so when it goes into the water fund, it just sits there.
Yes, sir.
So does the water fund still owe the general fund
No,
the
sir.
700,000?
No, sir. Because the money, let's talk about 2 things that occurred last year. And now, remember, I only talked about the legal side. Don't ask me about accounting questions. I only brought what I say, so I'm going to do real bad on math stuff, okay? So, one of the things that I think is real important to realize is that remember, the SPLOST authorized the debt, or the money used for debt service. And that was a valid question, agree with that. That's all in the document. The vote was to use, in order to bolster the deficit in the water and sewer fund, use the 622,550. Okay? So that did not occur. It was not transferred to the appropriate account. It's still there. So what has to happen is it has to be transferred, if I'm answering your question, from SPLOST, and the minutes have got to show it comes from the 2015 SPLOST fund, goes to the water and sewer fund. And I think the second part of your question is, what happens to the money? The money is sitting there because you've got to have a certain debt coverage service ratio. Remember that? That is a 1.2, I don't have that file,
Right.
1.2 or where it is. is you gotta be above that. That helps bolster your debt service coverage ratio. And the best way I could describe it to you is it's a reserve fund you gotta keep in there. Failing to have that reserve fund is a bond problem. Okay? Then in addition to that, to further bolster the fund, the $130,000 came out of the general fund. It goes into that account. And that's part there. And what will happen for all of you in connection with what's going to occur and decisions that will be made for next year at some point in time is what are we going to do to get the debt service coverage ratio up, as the mayor just referred to. And we want to do two things. We get that debt service coverage ratio up as high as you can get it, physically responsible for the money, and secondly, have that reserve fund stay where it is. Because what you can't afford to do long term is take money swaps. You can do it, but long term, what that means is other projects like buying these boats and stuff don't get bought. And actually all payers, or rate payers, and this is an enterprise fund, so the rate payers ought to be the one that's paying the bill. So I don't want to preach too much on the subject, but you see what Carroll County's doing. They're up in the rate on you 25, 26, whatever percentage that is. Next year, I'm not being critical, I'm just saying they're doing it and say, look, we're going to get our debt coverage ratio up. And for your water service, you don't have a choice, go back to Todd's statement, but you gotta pay this. And again, when we get ready for equitable rate payments by industry, commercial, and residential customers, we're going to have to come up with, after the rate study's completed, how that's been done. You know, that sounds like a typical lawyer, long answer to a short question. I hope I answered.
You did, trustee Judge.
I hear a motion.
I'd make that motion.
A motion, Mr. Brackman, on this transfer be made. Your second.
I'll say.
Second by Mr. Wallace. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes, sir.
One of the things I read that you put in the memo, you didn't talk about it, we need to write 2 checks.
When we talk about whether the right to checks, there became a question about, and the mayor brought the question up tonight, about writing checks later for something that was done last year when it was there. And his point was that I would feel more comfortable if we just accomplish it by transfer. And I said, fine, as long as we show that the transfer is done and send that to the auditors and show the transfer is done.
Separate.
So 2 separate, and now again, I'm getting back to where I need the journal entries.
Okay.
And the general ledger to show it leaves the general fund and goes to the water sewer fund. And of course, the minutes will reflect that. And then I think what would be a good idea, is a great question. Right? Part 2 is I need to send a little note to them for the trail, so here's how we do it. Everybody kind of understand?
Yes.
Any more questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is carried. Number 8, staff report concerning utility billing charge for several large customers in 2013 and 14, and recommended action for the city council to consider. Mr. Osborne.
Yes, sir, I've given you a memo on this. Sarah Hefke had mentioned this to me some weeks ago, that these still had not been dealt with, and also our auditor had asked me about it, and I had actually, at the time we had our meeting, the auditor was presenting, because I had already put this on the agenda for tonight. You may remember that Ms. Ransom and Ms. Denson had mentioned this, and basically, we do have, as I showed in my memo, we had these 5 businesses, 4 of which had overpaid back several years ago. One in underpaid. We do need to get these squared away. Our auditors have told us we need to do this. My recommendation to you, I'm not asking for action tonight unless you're ready to take action. we come back to you next meeting or whatever, but we're looking at doing this over the next 12 months, which lets us deal with it over 2 fiscal years, giving a fixed monthly credit to the 4 businesses that we owe the money to. The company that owes us some money, that they would be able, we submit them invoices so that they would pay this in full, try to get all of this wrapped up within the next 12 months. Of course, we would need to do a downward adjustment in our revenue estimates, and we'd also be taking all this into account as we work on the fiscal 18 budget. If there are questions, I'll be glad to try to respond.
See, I don't understand this. In all of 2014, the city council had to vote to when the budget to pay Janice continue to be either $84,000 or $82,000 because the city had put the charge them and had been billing Janice for water and sewer, and Janice has county water, and so this was adjusted, and now it seems like that this goes back to 2013. I'm wondering why if they owe us some money from 13, why we had to write them that check. Of course, that was not you, sir. That was Mr. Baxley at the time, and informed the county, so I might want to see what the auditors say about that. Any more questions?
Basically the same comment. In fact, in 14, we supposedly had somebody had overcharged. $83,300 and some few cents. Okay. My question is basically the same. If we pay them that much money back, did we overpay them if they're owing us $22,000 now, or is this $22,000 worth of billing errors since 2014 to 2015? I would like to get that answered before we start issuing money.
Well, we're not going to issue Janice, so we're going to ask
We
them
don't
to
bill
bill.
them, but are we going to bill them? They're going to write us a check for $22,000?
Have to be seen, sir.
We should.
I agree, but I don't understand. I'm not agree well. Why we had to write them one for 83, and I thought this was taken care of.
It was my fault. It was my fault that took care of all the billing errors and overcharges.
The only thing I can tell you is you do have a sheet that I've attached right behind the memo that does have footnotes pointing out the reasons for the billing errors as determined by FRI auditors, and then the recommendations made by FRI auditors. We'll come back to you at your next meeting to see what your pleasure is, but I do want to move this along because for just to stay there and not be dealt with in some form or fashion would not be good for us from dealing with our lenders.
Well, can we just get maybe by then get a better explanation of how this comes about, where it's coming?
We'll see what additional information we can get other than what is included in the report we have before you now.
Thanks, Judge. Everybody okay with that? Okay, bring us that back, Mr. Hunter. Okay, staff report, recommendation of salary increases for 2 clerk positions at City Hall. Mr. Osborne.
I'm giving you a memo here. I know we've, in the past year, looked at the possibility of doing something here, and at that time, you didn't feel like that you wanted to take any action, but there are 2 events that have happened that happens in the real world, and I want to bring those to you. One, of course, that we've talked about already is the city of Villa Rica is terminating its agreement, which means that the fiscal services we have been getting from Little Ricker will end in 60 days. Now, the key person in working with Little Ricker on this transition over from Harris TBS to DeSalle, that overall operation is one of our employees, Pam Edwards, who's here tonight. And obviously, I'm aware that we've got financial limitations, but also, I'm also aware that it can cost you a lot more to try to replace people and train them than to keep the people you have. Ms. Edwards, bottom line, has been offered another job with another government. I show you on the sheet what she's making now. I do give you a recommendation for what I would like to propose. We look at increasing her salary too, that would, I think, keep her working with us. I think that's extremely important, especially over these next several months. And then also Cindy Moore would propose an increase for her that would hopefully keep her here. So if there are questions, I'd be glad to try to respond, and I'll answer the question. I'm not going into, as I'm making my comments, dealing with dollar figures simply because I've given them to you in this report. But would like to recommend that Ms. Edwards, that we increase her hourly rate from where it is now up to $16.25 an hour, and Cindy Moore from what she's making there up to $16 an hour. That on an annual, what we'd be talking about total is less than $3,800, and looking at what it would cost if we lost one of both of these ladies. I think it would be prudent to look at doing this. But that's a decision for you to make. I did feel like I needed to bring it to you. That's my report. I'll be glad to respond to questions.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I agree with Mr. Osborne's recommendation. I think these ladies deserve some recognition and a little more for what they do for us. My question for Mr. Osborne is, where did you come up with the figures? Just start with Pam, for example. You just want to increase it to $16.25 an hour, whereas the other government has offered $16 an hour. So I wondered why made you feel like we couldn't just match it, or why we had to go above and beyond the $16 an hour.
It's a good question, and probably matching it would be sufficient simply because she lives here and is happy working here. But if I'm paying her a little more than she's being offered somewhere else, that kind of, from my standpoint, kind of seals the deal.
And are these changing the caps of their jobs?
And I did, for both of these ladies, they are still they're still within the range that we have for the top of this range is right at $18 an hour.
No, that's for Pam's or for both positions?
Both of them in this grade 7.
And they both have the same top hat?
Yes, both have the same top hat.
So the $14.88 to $16.25 is your $1.37 an hour, but yet Cindy only gets 37 cents an hour.
Well, two things. One is Pam has more experience than Cindy overall, plus the fact that, frankly, if you're looking at, sometimes you're trying to deal with the squeaky wheel to make sure you keep what you need. In fact, Cindy came to me and said, said, you know, if it would help to get Pam money so she wouldn't leave, I wouldn't ask anything. But I do think it would be prudent if we're looking at increasing Pam to also look at some type of increase in salary.
I agree with you. I think they do deserve some money. But like I said before, I talked to Pam, I talked to her the last time this came to us. Are these negotiable? You know, because when it came up before, it was just, you know, we just didn't even look at it and negotiate it. But my question for Bill, why 1625? I think they should get equal.
Can I say something?
Well, I think they should get equal. And I understand what you're saying.
Can I say something?
She would get it up. So,
Does that open up the floodgates for anybody that, you know, just coming up with a little more money so they may have another job? Or have you done any comps on it, comparing these other cities?
Well, we've done some comps before. Of course, we're low to start with. Now, you've already taken care of more than half your employees. You did that, when you did the police department certified officers, that took care of half of our staff. The biggest problem that we have now, once if you take care of this, the only real problem that I think we've still got to deal with at some point are with the laborers. You remember you all decided not to advance that from 11 to 13. We had a resignation yesterday. One of our laborers who's making 11 here going to get 16 somewhere else. We couldn't catch 16, so he would be leaving anyway. But we are left. But that's the remaining major area. We got 4 people in that area. And most everybody else, you now taken care of.
Is this something we can just put in the 2018 budget? We're supposed to have to start working on it in January, or something start being done now?
You're talking about the ladies here, but, well, like I say, passing the job off on the table now. And I would, and I'm not trying to pump her up or anything, but I mean, losing Bill Ricker in 60 days, if we were to lose Pam too, it'd really make it tough.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir, Mr. Brennan.
Okay. All right, so we did it with the police department because the chief put this as part of the plan. You know, for us to approve. All right, and why can't, if we're going to give to, why can't we give all the rest of the employees to equal amount of raise? We're going to give one $1.25 raise. Why can't we just say across the board and give all the employees?
Excuse me. Can I say
That's a
something?
decision below me.
It's going to be, really and truly, it's a cascading effect. It's a cascading effect. Every department is coming in and asking, but the department heads didn't do what the chief did. And the chief came in and said, look, I gotta have this. He planned it in his budget. He presented it to us. We said, okay, and we voted on the budget. And now we got, you know, this piecemeal coming in, and it's kind of a cascade effect. And I would really like to know where we stand across the board. I mean, you know, but I think you've got.
I will say that part of what you just said is and the chief did exactly what you said. I did not push to try to get all of it done with the budget that you adopted in January, because my feeling then, and in retrospect still would be, that our highest priority was getting our police department, our certified police officers, for the salary increases that they got, because I think that was where our greatest need was. And we took care of that. But I think certainly the need is there, insofar as looking at what we can work out from a budget standpoint. I can get back with you on that the next few days. I wouldn't try to spout off the figures right now. But certainly there is a need, but the squeaky wheel, as it were, at the moment, is making sure that we keep
But aren't we creating a squeaky wheel?
No, well, I'm saying that we do need to finish up with everybody, because everybody was, City of Temple was low in terms of its employee salaries when we started. I think y'all did a very good job dealing with that. Like I say, we're more than halfway there.
Well, let's do the other half, would be my suggestion.
Well,
We're gonna do half, and we're gonna piecemeal, do the whole thing.
we can do that.
That makes more sense if we're going to do this, and we are low, and we need to fix it. We need to fix it, we need to put it in place, we need to put it on our pay scale. We need to make sure that we can look at cities the same size, to make sure that we're, that it's compatible. We should be able to do this at our call meeting on the 25th.
We'll have it ready.
Mr. Rock?
None of us want to be backed into a corner like it kind of appears that we are. But you want to hear a squeaky wheel, wait till we have 1,500 water customers up here pissed off because we don't have anybody that knows how to handle our customers right here that knows the new system. And it's going to cost us a whole lot more than 37 cents an hour dealing with these people whenever, I mean, it's already a mess. It's already a squeaky wheel.
All right, so we got.
This will get us through, and then you can do whatever you want to do. We've got to take care of these leaks. I make a motion that we approve these pay rates up to $16 an hour.
Have a motion by Mr. Rockport to approve these pay rates to $16 an hour.
Yes, sir.
Your second. Your second. Motion dies twice, second.
But that means that the July the 25th, all of the other half of it, including these two, let's get it compatible. We need to do across the board, raise every employee $2 or $1.50. Let's just see where it will, let's just take care of it. And that way we won't have the departments fighting with each other. And then we'll have a plan, this is the chief role. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it, I'm saying we need to take them off.
Can I say
You
something?
want that on the report on the July the 25th?
We'll be ready, please, put that.
Just say it.
Okay.
Can I say something before you do it? May I say something?
Everybody okay? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the only reason I asked for a raise is because, being honest, I do 6 jobs. And yes, Cindy does do jobs, but she does 1. I do 6. That's why he asked for me a little more. And yes, they did. And I work my tail off here. I love Temple. I live in Temple. I love working in Temple. And this is the only reason that I want to stay here. But I do 6 jobs, y'all.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, that will be that on the agenda. Yes, sir, Mr. Walker.
We are going to have that on the agenda.
That's fine.
Review.
Everybody else, not the police, but the rest of the employees that did not get a raise.
Yes, sir.
And get us a dollar amount, we need to bring them all up.
Staff, number 10, staff report on action to provide more supervisory personnel within the current manpower of the City of Temple Police Department. Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we table number 10 till December, to the December meeting.
Okay, got a motion, Mr. Crackle, to table number 10 to the December meeting. Here, second. second from Mr. Rockwell. Any discussion? Favor signify by saying aye. Okay. Number 11, staff report concerning 2 items to be presented to the Temple Planning Commission in a meeting at City Hall at 5:30, July the 18th. Mr. Osborne.
Yes, sir, this is, giving you a report. We've had requests of property owners, property right across the street from us, the convenience store, the vacant lot, and just to the south of us to change the property line. And there are some implications with this today. You can read the legal notice in here, you can read my memo. We will have the planning commission meeting on the 18th. It will come to you on the special meeting on the 25th, public hearing and the first reading of ordinances to accomplish this. And then your regular monthly meeting on August 7th will be the second reading to decide whether to approve or reject what's being proposed.
Does everybody understand that? Answers that. Mr. Barnes, you have anything, sir?
Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight.
Chief? Thank you. You got anything, sir?
I'm also doing a fine job this month, we made several plus, closed out a lot of investigations on stolen property, covered vehicles, you name it.
Any questions for the chief?
No question.
Yes, sir.
I got, last month, or monthly meeting, you said you didn't have any applicants.
I decided,
Anyway, I got a record request, which I think is ridiculous, that I had to put another record request to get any information. I got 7 applications. Now, on my other record request, I was very specific about March 1st and May 31st, because that was the time period you said you didn't have any applications. I've got 7 applications here, which are available through other records. We both found out. And my question, I guess, is 3 of them out of the 7, this guy's available to start September 19th of 2016. This gentleman is November 28th of 2016. And this gentleman October of 16. So according to my records that I received from police department, we had 4 applicants in 90 days.
4 applicants, I really just keep up with how many we got, but those applicants right there, it's more to it than just what you got in front of your eyes.
I didn't ask for this.
I gave it to you.
I
Okay, I didn't have to give it to you, but you got them, all right?
You do have to give them to me.
Well, I gave it to
We
you.
established that.
Okay, well, I gave it to you,
Okay.
but it's more behind that than that. We got stuff that you can't get on local record, which is criminal history. It's stuff that we look at, post that you can't get, that we look at, that kicks them out, even we have to wait till we get an applicant that we feel we can go further with.
So why did you give me these things?
I gave you those, so that's what we had.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you pinpoint at the time to sit here because he keeps applications on his desk. They get them when I'm not there. Tina Howard gets them when I'm not there, and Charlotte Reed holds them when I'm not there.
This is going to be a reason why I talked to Mr. Osborne. We need to get all of our applications online. Police department, city applications. There's got to be some kind of record. There's not even dates on some of these things. So I just can't believe we had 4 applicants in 90 days. And that's all. That was my question. So thank you for answering.
Any more questions? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I can't. It's like now, I have to sit together, go to them, go to the Tina Howard, I go to Charlotte Reed and say, any applicants, whatever. Sometimes I hold 2 or 3 days and say, oh, yeah, somebody dropped one off. it's hard to keep up with. So at that time, I'm telling you, I wasn't sure how many we had. I don't get all applications. I personally don't. I don't recall saying zero. If I did, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was looking.
Mr. Bradford, you have anything?
No, sir. That's for the year.
Ms. Walker?
I would like to recognize the Temple Major Garden Club and the job that they do. The president's here tonight. Ms. Patsy Allwood. I had the privilege of going with them last week to do a yard of the month, replace the sign. And it was for Charles Thomas Senior. And he was really inspirational. He's 97 years old, and he's still out doing his yard work. He got a son in his yard of the month, so hats off to the garden club.